Most people live as if their best days are somewhere far down the road. They drag themselves through the week, counting hours like prisoners counting time. The dream is not to live. It's to stop, to one day retire, to finally rest. But that dream is broken. What if the goal wasn't to escape your life, but to design one you never need to leave? What if fulfillment wasn't something you buy at the end, but something you build into the beginning? Too many are chasing promotions that pay more but cost everything. They compromise time, health, joy, even integrity, just to keep moving up a ladder they never questioned. They wake up tired, go to bed anxious, and call that success. That's not success. That's survival with a salary. You don't need more income. You need more alignment. Because when your work pulls you out of who you are, no paycheck can make it right. But when your work pulls your gifts to the surface, no struggle can make it wrong. The first step to a life you never want to retire from is asking the right question, not what can I get, but what was I made to give? Purpose is not found in noise. It's found in stillness. It's the clarity that comes when you stop trying to win a race that leads nowhere. Purpose doesn't shout, it whispers. And you hear it when the distractions die down. There is a difference between business and building, a difference between movement and momentum. Most people stay busy because business feels like progress, but it's not. It's often just motion without direction. Purpose is the compass, and without it, hard work turns into exhaustion. This world rewards productivity, but it punishes reflection. If you don't slow down to ask why, you'll keep sprinting in the wrong direction. Eventually, even the fastest runner gets tired, especially when running toward a finish line that doesn't matter. Ask, what would I do if money weren't a factor? What would I give myself to even if no one was watching? What feels right in my soul, even if it doesn't make sense to the world? These aren't fluffy questions. They're the foundation of a sustainable life. You don't burn out from hard work. You burn out from hollow work. You burn out when what you do on the outside no longer lines up with who you are on the inside. This is why people succeed on paper and still feel empty, because numbers can't feed the soul, because accolades don't fill the heart, and because money is a tool, not a purpose. If the work doesn't feed your soul, the reward will always feel too small. And if the path doesn't excite your spirit, the destination will feel like a trap. People wait 30 years for a golden watch and a final paycheck only to realize they gave up their best years for something that never loved them back. There is no retirement from purpose. You don't stop being you at 60. You don't run out of passion at 65. And you certainly don't need permission to begin building the life you actually want. When you align your life with purpose, peace becomes your currency, joy becomes your measure, and every day becomes meaningful, even the hard ones. A life built on purpose is not perfect, but it is powerful because it gives you something deeper than comfort. It gives you meaning, and meaning is the true wealth. It doesn't fluctuate with the market. It doesn't disappear with a job. It doesn't fade after applause. You cannot buy purpose. You cannot inherit it. You must build it. And you build it by choosing work that reflects who you are, not just what you can do. You build it by being honest about what drains you and what energizes you. You build it by refusing to climb ladders that lean on the wrong wall. This kind of life requires courage, because walking in purpose might mean walking away from comfort. It might mean saying no to a higher offer so you can say yes to a higher calling. It might mean disappointing others to finally be true to yourself. But the reward is deep. You won't count the days to the weekend. You won't dream about retirement. You'll wake up grateful, focused, fulfilled. Because what you do isn't a job. It's an extension of who you are. And that kind of life, the one aligned with mission, guided by values, anchored in truth, is a life you never want to run from. You don't escape it. You expand it. You don't dread it. You develop it. So if you're tired of living for later, begin now. Not by quitting everything, but by questioning everything. Not by abandoning responsibility, but by aligning with purpose. Build a life so meaningful you don't need to step away from it to find rest. Design a rhythm that gives back more than it takes. Do work that breathes life into you, not just money into your account. because the real goal isn't just to make a living. The goal is to make a life you don't want to retire from, a life you can love every day you live it, and a life that still matters long after you're gone. People crave freedom. They chase it with urgency, more time, more options, more control, but they ignore the path that actually leads to it. Discipline. Not the harsh kind that crushes spirit, but the kind that creates space, the kind that makes peace possible, the kind that turns potential into power. Without discipline, desires become distractions. Without discipline, time becomes a thief. Without discipline, dreams stay theories, never touched, never lived, never real. Freedom is not the absence of structure. It is the presence of the right structure, the kind you build deliberately, not the kind life throws at you by default. Most people think discipline is restriction. They treat it like a prison. But the truth is, it's protection. Discipline is the gate that keeps chaos out. It is the order that keeps energy focused. It is the filter that tells you what matters. So you stop giving your life away to what doesn't. The undisciplined life is not free. It is scattered, reactive, emotional, unstable. Always putting out fires, always running late, always saying someday. And someday is the favorite word of the undisciplined. Discipline doesn't eliminate emotion. It elevates decision. It doesn't cancel creativity. It channels it. It doesn't suffocate your soul. It strengthens your spirit. Start here your morning. Before the world can touch you, touch your mind. Don't check your phone. Check your focus. Don't scroll. Start strong. What you do in the first hour sets the tone for the next 23. Then look at your words. What you say shapes your life. Be intentional with your language. Speak with clarity. Speak with vision. Speak with integrity. Loose words create loose standards. Disciplined speech sharpens identity. Next, look at your thoughts. A disciplined life starts in the mind, and an undisciplined mind is a dangerous place to live. Every lie, every fear, every excuse grows faster when the mind is left unchecked. You must take every thought captive. Not every thought deserves your attention. Not every emotion deserves a reaction. Not every idea deserves implementation. Discipline helps you separate truth from noise. It gives your inner world boundaries, not chaos. Then there's your time. The most disciplined people are not the busiest. They are the most selective. They do less, but with more power. They don't chase every opportunity. They chase alignment. They don't fill their calendar. They fill their calling. You don't need to do more. You need to do what matters and do it better. Discipline creates energy, not exhaustion. When you stop scattering your focus, your strength multiplies. When you stop switching directions, momentum builds. When you stop saying yes to what doesn't matter, your life makes sense again. People waste years on things that look urgent but aren't important. They say yes to everything and call it responsibility. But real responsibility begins with clarity. You are not responsible for everything. You are responsible for what you've been called to manage. Discipline isn't about control over everything. It's about control over yourself, your focus, your emotions, your behavior. You don't need more motivation. You need structure. Motivation comes and goes. But structure sustains. Structure holds you up when willpower runs dry. It keeps you consistent when feelings fade. Want a life that doesn't burn out. Set boundaries that protect your energy. Create systems that reduce decision fatigue. Build habits that work even when you're tired. Small disciplines repeated daily lead to large victories eventually. No fireworks, no applause. Just quiet repetition that compounds over time. Discipline turns daily decisions into destiny. And every time you do the right thing, even when it's hard, you are reinforcing the future you desire. Don't underestimate the power of seemingly small choices. Waking up early, finishing what you started, turning off distractions, showing up on time. These don't feel glamorous, but they are the foundation of greatness. Your goals don't determine your future. Your habits do. Anyone can dream big. Only the disciplined bring it to life. So many chase shortcuts. They want quick wins. They want the outcome without the process. But without discipline, every shortcut leads to a dead end. Every early victory turns into a delayed failure. Because discipline isn't just about starting. It's about sustaining. And anything not sustained will collapse. You can't cheat your way into a life you love. You must build it day by day, decision by decision. And that build is called discipline. Discipline will make you uncomfortable. It will stretch you. It will strip away your excuses. But in doing so, it will introduce you to your real self, not the lazy self, not the emotional self, not the fearful self. The capable, focused, powerful self. That version of you is buried under distractions, under weak habits, under toxic routines. Discipline is how you dig it out. Discipline is how you resurrect the strongest version of yourself. A life you don't need to retire from is not built on convenience. It is built on consistency, not on passion alone, but on practice, not on vibes, but on values. So if your life feels out of control, stop waiting for a miracle. Create a system, create a structure, create a standard, because discipline is not your enemy. It is your edge. And when you embrace it fully, you'll realize it never limited your life. It unlocked it. A fulfilling life is not built by accident. It is built by principle. Clear, practical, time-tested standards that hold you steady when emotions don't. Principles are not trends. They are not temporary fixes or feel-good tactics. They are anchors. And if you don't have anchors, you drift. Drift in your values. Drift in your decisions. Drift in your direction. You don't need more hacks. You need more truth. Truth that doesn't bend when life gets hard. Truth that doesn't change based on convenience. Truth that creates order and protects your future. Start with this: simplify. Complexity is the enemy of clarity. And most people are drowning in unnecessary complexity. Too many obligations. Too many tabs open. Too many goals. The more scattered your life, the more divided your energy. And divided energy creates delayed results. Simplicity is power. It lets you go deep instead of wide. It frees your mind from clutter. It allows you to give your best to what matters most. Cut what doesn't matter. Remove what you don't need. Reduce your life to what actually contributes to your peace. Next, decide once. Indecision steals time. Making the same choice over and over drains energy. That's why people feel overwhelmed. Not because they're doing too much, but because they're deciding too much. You don't need to rethink your morning routine every day. You don't need to reanalyze your budget every week. You don't need to evaluate your boundaries every time someone pressures you. Set a standard and stick to it. Decide once. Automate the right things. Systematize what you repeat. Save your energy for where it really counts. Then honor time. Time is not just money. Time is life. And how you spend it reveals what you truly value. Track your hours. Be ruthless about your calendar. Don't fill your day. Focus your day. Stop scheduling based on what's urgent. Start scheduling based on what's essential. If it doesn't move your mission forward, it doesn't belong on your calendar. Guard your time from time wasters. That includes unproductive meetings, empty scrolling, mindless entertainment, and conversations that go nowhere. Your minutes matter, and you can't afford to waste them. Another principle: create before you consume. Most people begin their day in consumption mode. They scroll. They react. And then they wonder why their mind is foggy, why their emotions feel hijacked. But your first act of the day should not be reacting. It should be creating. Create your focus. Create your energy. Create something that aligns with your mission. You don't start the day by letting the world speak into you. You start by speaking into your own future. Then say no. A strong life is built on strategic no's. Not every good opportunity is a right opportunity. Not every request is your assignment. Not every invitation deserves a response. Saying no protects your eyes. Saying no protects your calling. Saying no keeps you in alignment. You are not here to please everyone. You are not here to be available to everything. You are here to fulfill a specific mission, and that mission requires focus. When you say yes to everything, you dilute your impact. When you say yes to what matters, your life becomes sharp and effective. Now rest deliberately. Rest is not a luxury. Rest is strategy. Rest is sacred. And when you don't rest, your body will force it. Your mind will break down. Your decisions will suffer. Your clarity will vanish. Don't wait until burnout forces you to stop. Build rest into your rhythm. Schedule silence. Protect solitude. Guard your recovery like you guard your work. True rest is not passive. It is deliberate renewal. It is intentional recharging. It's not about avoiding responsibility. It's about sustaining it. Understand this, a high-performance life without rest is a countdown to collapse. All these principles are simple, but they are not easy. They require vigilance. They require consistency. They require humility, the humility to admit that your life needs structure. These principles are the rails your life runs on. They keep your focus centered. They keep your energy aligned. They keep your values protected. Without them, life becomes noisy. Everything feels urgent. You start reacting to the loudest voice instead of responding to your deepest truth. But when you build these principles into your daily rhythm, life becomes clear. Decisions become easier. Stress becomes manageable. Progress becomes sustainable. The life you don't want to retire from isn't found through emotional highs or motivational surges. It's built through practical mastery. Mastery of time. Mastery of priorities. Mastery of attention. Practical principles turn your potential into patterns. They turn inspiration into application. They turn chaos into clarity. So take inventory, audit your systems, test your routines, challenge your decisions. Do they serve your highest values or just your habits? Because if your life is full of motion but empty of meaning, you don't need more ambition. You need more alignment. Build a life with principles that outlast pressure. Build a life with habits that reinforce your identity. Build a life that doesn't collapse when life gets hard. Because hard days will come. And when they do, principles will carry you where motivation cannot. There is a turning point in every life that actually changes the direction of that life. That moment is not external. It is internal. It happens the moment you take full ownership, not partial, not shared, full. Responsibility is not a burden. It is the birthplace of power. And until you embrace it completely, you will always feel stuck, waiting, blaming, drifting. Ownership ends all of that. You cannot build a life you love while handing away control of that life. And every time you point the finger, you give your power away. Blame feels comfortable, but it keeps you small. It may feel like protection, but it becomes a prison. The truth is simple. Your life is your responsibility, not your past, not your parents, not the economy, not the government, not your education, your boss, or your history. It's you, every reaction, every standard you allow. You don't control everything that happens, but you control how you respond. You control how long you tolerate mediocrity. You control whether you let pain become purpose or an excuse. That power is yours. It's been there all along. But most people bury it under blame. The person who accepts full responsibility stops waiting. They stop wishing. They stop hoping that someone else will make things right. They rise and do it themselves. Ownership is not about guilt. It's about authority. Guilt keeps you in the past. Authority pulls you into the future. It says, I may not be at fault for everything I inherited, but I am responsible for everything I create. So many people walk through life asking the wrong questions. Why does this keep happening to me? Why won't someone help me? Why is life so unfair? But the right question changes everything. What am I going to do about it? What do I need to change? Where can I begin today? When you live in ownership, you stop needing perfect conditions. You stop waiting for ideal timing. You move with what you have. You create with what you know. And you keep growing every day, no matter what. Responsibility does not eliminate failure. It empowers you to rise after it. When you own everything, even your mistakes become building blocks, even your losses become lessons, and even your weakness becomes the doorway to your next level of strength. You also stop making excuses. Excuses sound intelligent, but they're the language of limitation. They disguise fear as logic. They keep you busy justifying instead of adjusting. Excuses are subtle. I'm too tired. I'm too old. I'm not ready. I don't have time. I've tried everything. None of those statements are true. They're just familiar. And familiarity breeds stagnation. If you keep repeating what limits you, you'll never access what elevates you. So trade your excuses for action. Trade your blame for clarity. Trade your fear for responsibility. Ownership will require decisions that feel uncomfortable. You may need to set new boundaries. You may need to walk away from toxic people. You may need to audit your habits, your thoughts, your daily patterns. And it may be hard at first, but the freedom that follows is worth it. You will feel peace, not because everything is easy, but because nothing controls you anymore. You are not a victim of your schedule. You are not a prisoner of your habits. You are not a slave to your emotions. You are in charge now. This is not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming responsible. Perfect people don't build powerful lives. Responsible people do. People who show up even when it's hard. People who fix what's broken even when it's not their fault. People who stop waiting to be rescued and start leading their own transformation. You do not need permission to grow. You do not need applause to evolve. You do not need agreement to act. Every day is a decision. You either own your life or you outsource it. You either take command or you let circumstance dictate your direction. You either build with intention or you inherit regret. You are not helpless. You are not stuck. You are not waiting for the right opportunity. You are the opportunity. Everything you want to change about your life begins the moment you take full responsibility for where you are. Not to condemn yourself, but to empower yourself. From this moment on, no more blame, no more delay, no more waiting for someone to save you. You are the architect. You are the decision. You are the difference. This is how you build a life you never need to retire from. Not by chasing escape, not by begging for comfort, but by owning your identity, your time, your calling, and your impact. A fulfilling life isn't found, it's built. And the builder is the one who refuses to give their power away. So take it back, stand up, take full responsibility, own the whole thing, excuse nothing, and live a life so meaningful that stepping away from it never even crosses your mind.